Hi, my name is Kevin, and I collect old irons. Today we're going to talk about the sad irons of the Wapak Hollow Ware Company. First of all, let's talk about some pronunciations and terminology. This company we're talking about today is first and foremost known for its skillets, but I've heard even skillet collectors referring to this as the Wapak or the Wapak Company. The name of the company is the Wapak Hollow Ware Company. Wapak here named after Wapakoneta, Ohio, which is about an hour's drive northwest of Columbus, Ohio. Wapakoneta is hometown of Apollo 11 astronaut Neil Armstrong. Current population about 10,000 people. The full company name is the Wapak Hollow Ware Company. Hollowware here essentially means bowl-shaped as opposed to flatware, which would include pans, plates, eating utensils. We have previously talked about the Chalfant, Howell, and A.C. Williams foundries. Each of these companies was named after the person who established and owned the company over decades. But as best as I could tell, there was no single person responsible for the Wapak Company. Again, for the Chalfant, Howell, and A.C. Williams, these have an individual name and also have a substantial amount of information about these companies, whereas for Wapak, there's very little information about the company itself. The Wapak Company was established in 1903 and apparently went bankrupt in about 1926. So a relatively short history and not a particularly wide diversity of products. The company made skillets, kettles, griddles, Dutch ovens, waffle irons, and a variety of what I would call biscuit pans. I think what Wapak was trying to do was provide a portion of what the Griswold Manufacturing Company of Erie, PA was making at lower prices. But looking at the Wapak products, most common in the antique shops, I think the good old-fashioned flat irons was a fairly large part of the Wapak business. And these products, by and large, were not something being made by Griswold. I have found very little ephemera associated with this company. The previous postcard and this photo is just about all that is presently available. We have visited the Wapakoneta Historical Society, located in an old church, and I thank Rachel, Julie, and Dennis for providing information for this video. The museum has a small display that includes some of the Wapak skillets and a few irons. Anyone who has a nice collection of Wapak hardware might consider donating that to this museum where it will be there and used educationally. There are a lot of skillet collectors out there, and if you are interested in that, there are two books that are the Bible for skillets. This is the Blue Book, which includes Wapak products, and is the go-to book for more detailed information on Wapak hardware. Some of the skillets, especially those that have the Indian Chief logo on the bottom, can be worth, well, the one on the right here from a Wapakoneta Antique Mall is on sale for $925. But beware, there are reproductions out there. Again, the Blue Book is a very useful source for these. The Historical Society gave me a reprint copy of the Wapak catalog. The company did not make a particularly wide diversity of sad iron products. What they did make were small, medium, and large-sized flat irons, some tailor irons, sleeve irons, and Mrs. Pot-style detachable handle irons. For small irons, these were from 1 to 3 pounds, either plain or nickel-plated. Medium-sized flat irons were from 4 to 12 pounds. Large flat irons were from 4 to 30 pounds at 2-pound intervals. There were also more narrow, heavy tailor irons at 14 to 30 pounds, and a sleeve iron in one size only. I have in my collection a 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 14-pounder. The 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounders are by far the most common, and you can find these perhaps for $10 or $15. The smaller ones and the larger ones might be a little higher, but none of these are rare enough to be real pricey. The small mid-sized flat irons and the sleeve iron have Wapak on the handle, the P being a little bit larger size than most of the other letters, and the large flat irons and the tailor iron have a cast base, and they have a wrought and twisted handle. And there was a Wapak Mrs. Potts iron. Both the base and handle are quite similar to the Enterprise and Colebrookdale products, so perhaps these were made from molds bought from one of those companies. There is only one variety of the stand, and what Wapak plainly did was they bought a mold from the Howell Company, has the big H, and then on the bottom in raised letters they have Wapak. And these stands, I think, would have been offered in company with the 3 Mrs. Potts bottoms with a handle, which was basically the policy, I think, of all the Mrs. Potts irons associated with the Enterprise or Colebrookdale molds. None of the Wapak products mentioned here have any particularly high value, at least among iron collectors. But there are Wapak collectors in general out there, and while most of these are focused on the skillets, some of these might be trying to collect all the Wapak products, including the sat iron varieties, and these people can drive up the cost to higher levels if you have 2 motivated bidders. And that's it. The Wapak company is not particularly significant, but those of us that collect iron skillets or waffle irons can see a lot of these things. And it is, in that sense, a significant enough company. And with that, I'm done. I thank you for subscribing, making comments, asking me questions, and we'll see you again. We do have a Griswold video coming up.